Welcome to the Opportunity Podcast today. I'm really excited. We have basically Big 12 um, royalty here from the University of Texas. We got Carly Montgomery joining us. They had an amazing season last year. Probably really cool to step into a role where you're a freshman and playing a lot and making a big impact. So, Carly, thanks so much for taking a little bit of time and hanging out with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be on this.
All right. So, you're not from Texas, you're from North Carolina. I believe your mom played soccer in North Carolina. So how dare you not go to NC State? How did
Uh,
what was the upbringing and how'd you end up at Texas?
so my mom did play at NC State, and then she went on to play pro for a few years with the Texas soccer head coach that I play for now. So
Wow.
I am still connected to my mom's soccer career, but she wanted me to branch off on my own and make my own name. And what better place to do it than the University of Texas?
Yeah. So, everything's bigger in Texas is what they say. I don't know. We're in San Diego and we don't have sayings other than we have perfect weather. But um going to a big university like that, what were your expectations? Obviously you had a successful freshman season, but what were kind of your expectations coming in, and what was it about Texas that kind of pulled
Mhm.
at you and said this is going to be the place for me?
Well, when I went on my official visit, it was just surreal. The facilities that are provided to student athletes, the resources that we get, along with the academic and athletic level that the school is bigger than a lot in the country, and that's like a lot to take in. But at the same time, it's you when you get the opportunity to be a part of something so huge and so amazing, you just kind of have to take it. And so when I was on my visit, I mean, the from the dining halls to our athletic facilities to the trainers and the support staff that we have, it's really hard to not fall in love right away.
Yeah. Does that kind of play into the success that Texas has had in conference play too? Does that play a little bit into it? That hey, the facilities are amazing. We have an opportunity to be at a great program and win conference tournaments like day one when you show
Ab-
up.
Absolutely. Like right now, I'm in my our study hall facility. We have a whole floor in the football stadium for student athletes to come and like study. And so we have we have management tutors and everything. So we have the school side down, and then on the athletic side, we have nutritionists and sports psychiatrists and like chiropractors and like you name it, we have it, that like is always allowing us to be able to perform at our best, which I think plays a huge role in the success of all of our teams.
That's awesome. So like, growing up, you were in North Carolina. Was it always soccer all the way, like from a young age? Like when did you decide I'm gonna play at the next level?
So basically ever since I could walk, my mom had a ball at my feet, but I started to truly like know that this is what I wanted to do later than I feel like normal normally girls think. I was probably around 15, 16 when I was like, okay, this is like a real thing I want to do, because I had a rocky youth soccer career. I was never like a top level player until I was about 14, where I finally made the top level ECNL and DA teams, which is like the biggest league in the soccer terms. And once I made those teams, I kind of just skyrocketed from there. And I was like, this is something I've always loved, but now I know that I can do it at a very high level, which was then I worked hard to be able to come to a program that ended top 15 in the country.
Yeah, what's it, so growing up as a kid and just playing for fun, you've been around the game for a long time, obviously. Mom was, trying to influence by throwing that ball at the toddler's feet, which is awesome. Where were you mentally thinking, I'm not at this top tier level. I'm not some insanely, you know, coveted youth player at the time, but did you just think, "Oh, I'm just having fun playing no matter what," or what did that look like getting to a level where you kind of break through in the ECNL kind of circuit and then, moving onward. But what were the challenges not being kind of in those top
Mhm.
conversations?
There was a time where I almost decided not to play anymore. Like, when I was 13, it was like, "This isn't fun for me. I'm just not in love with it like I was, or I just I don't know. I don't see myself going anywhere." And it was something that my mom was really in my corner for me, and she helped me overcome those obstacles. And a big thing for me was learning the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. I was a player in my youth that was very fixed mindset, and I was very afraid of failure, which I feel felt like held me back a lot. And my mom would help give me books, and she would try to like teach me all these lessons. And at the time, I would just push it to the side. I'd be like, I don't even care. I don't. That's the fixed mindset was kicking in. But over time, like, it really started to get better. And in my growth mindset was, how like can I get better every day? How can I better myself, better my teammates, become a leader? And once I really took those steps, is when my level went up. And then I got to the top team event, and then I was like, I have no ceiling right now. So as long as I keep working at this, I can get to a high level.
How does that happen? I'm curious because like I have this little 5-year-old daughter who, she is amazing when she's with another coach, a teacher, another parent. But if daddy says anything, she's like, nope,
Yeah.
not, that is not how it's going to be. Give me the light at the end of the tunnel here.
Yeah.
What's flipped for you?
My mom and I kinda, I mean, we are best friends, inseparable. Now I call her every single night. But there were a few years, I'd say, where we butt heads. Like, she'd go out to try to train me and do stuff, and I'd be like, "No, you're wrong." And there's no, I should have listened. She played pro and she was at the national level. I should have listened, but it just took constant persistence from her, and her keeping her composure and confidence in me, and like never doubting me, even though like I would doubt myself. So then when she would keep going, and then I eventually, she was my high school coach all 3 years of high school, because COVID, I didn't play freshman year. And once she was really my coach, and like I saw how she coached, and just things started to evolve, I was able to really become a big leader and lead from the field, and she was able to lead as a coach. And I mean, and then we came together, and it's like, ever since then, she's who I go to for everything, and she's the reason I have the mindset that I have. So the light at the end of the tunnel, I would say it's going to be hard. Like, it's just those, teenage rebellion years, kind of that tween age where I think I know more than her. But I think it's also came with the maturity of me growing up and realizing she knows what she's talking about. So she plays probably the biggest role in me being here today.
Well, I'm gonna work on my own growth mindset then and say it's not over. Just keep supporting
Hmm.
and going forward, and it'll all work out as long as we're all having fun at some point. But
Absolutely, the fun happens
um,
there.
yeah, right. And so just talking about fun, having a breakthrough, in ECNL and having an amazing freshman season at Texas. Just the Big 12 conference that you guys won last year is like a great place to be. You guys had like 10 or more get drafted for the NWSL this year. So what's it like kind of being in that environment and playing kind of the big roles and the
Hmm.
making it to the tournament at the end of the season?
Yeah.
How's that been?
So I was forced to take on a large role, just thrown in, and I couldn't be more grateful for it. And it taught me so much. I mean, I was able to learn that no matter what age you are, you can take on a big leadership role. And it differed from the older leadership girls of the team, where they, handle more of like the team stuff and things you kind of need experience for. But I was able to really lead by example and take on, like, I gave a lot of positivity to my teammates and a lot of encouragement and accountability. So I was able to learn like a whole new role versed off of senior year in high school, where I was the big leader that did everything and talked all the time. I kind of take a step back and realize what role I could take. It had to be a big one, but it was different. And doing that with my teammates was huge, and they helped me a lot, and playing with them has made me so much better because some of my teammates are like next level, top in the country, so they make me better at practice every single day, and they teach me the leadership qualities to have, and they say, like, they tell me all the time, like, they believe in me, and they tell me that I can take on a big role. And so having that belief from them like allows me to really like come into my own.
Yeah, and one thing I've heard as, with the younger players like getting into the kind of college team and that setting and the age and physicality of, the other teams you play, being a leader and kind of getting thrust into it right away. Is this your first time having to really play this many years up? I know usually in soccer you're birth yeared, and like that's who you compete with a lot. So is this kind of the first environment you've been where you're playing 2, 3+ years over you?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell when you play against older players, first, just because of their physical strengths, they're fast, they're strong, you can tell their experience, but also like the grit that you have as you get older. And it's like they have this a mindset that nothing was going to get in their way, no matter the score, no matter how the game's going, which is something I really look up to in a lot of my teammates that have been playing for 3, 4 years, that I am like really, really learning from. And but yeah, it's hard to play against some of these older girls and just have to have a mindset that I can handle them and they're not gonna knock me down either.
Yeah. Well, just even like I said, like to have it was like 10 or 12 got drafted this year, so you're playing a professional level of soccer as an incoming freshman. What is there any game or anything this that in your first year that was kind of like a surreal moment, thinking, "Oh my gosh, like this is like the stage," or "Can I
Hmm.
handle the moment?"
Yeah. So there's a few games that come to mind. The first one is when we played LSU, and unfortunately we lost that game, but a lot went into it with referees, and you always blame the referees, but this was a different instance. I had I scored my first collegiate goal of that game off a corner with my head, and the ref called it back and said it was a foul. But that changed the whole dynamic of the game. But playing these girls, it was so fast, so intense. It was the real like first preseason game that was super hard for us, and it was like, whoa, I love this stage. Even though we're losing, like the grit that we were trying to win, win, win. I loved it. I hated to lose. That sucked. But that was the first game I was like, okay, this is big. And then the next game I'd probably say is the Big 12 championship game against BYU, who was ranked number one in the country at that time. They have Brecken Mazingo, Olivia Wade Katoa, who were drafted top 5 this year on their front line. So I'm like, okay,
That's
I
you.
it's me. So I mean, but our defense, we were so tight, so clean, and it was just a game that was like I could handle this, and it also like gave me. So I'd like to play pro eventually, when maybe overseas NWSL one day. So it's like if I can play against these girls now and keep getting better, it gives me a lot of hope for my future.
Yeah. Well, just the level of play, and as the game just gets so much better, and even just in kind of your age bracket, but even younger, like more
Hmm.
and more girls are playing, and there's been so many resources to kind of push the game forward and the popularity of it and all of that. Is there somebody you watch as a pro defender that you're like, that's where I want to be, or that you kind of playing style kind of fits who Carly wants to be?
I have the perfect person in mind. It's not a pro player, happens to be one of my teammates, MJ Cox, who last spring tore her ACL and all of her other ligaments, like everything in there. And she was Big 12 Defender of the Year. And like once I committed to Texas, I watch the game a lot. I watch film every day. I watched practice film today already, but that's besides the point. But when I would watch, like she is like who I aspire to be as a player, and because she's so phenomenal, and she's coming back, she's on her way back this spring, and we've become best friends over this past fall because I would always go to her to advice, and I would ask her and she'd give me all these inside looks and like tell me what I needed to know and really helped me get through my freshman year. But I think she just is absolutely incredible. And if I could learn to be more like her as a player and even as a person, she's wonderful, great leader, very invested in her faith. I love it. And now we're best friends. So she's someone who I really, really look up to.
That's a unique opportunity. You come in, you've got a Big 12 Defender of the Year. You're getting a ton of playing time right out the gate. You're all freshmen,
Hmm.
like playing against front lines like BYU who are professionals at this point. Where do you see, just like, how do you kind of keep yourself a little bit grounded in the moment that, hey, I had a lot of success early, I have amazing people, we've won some huge games, but keeping kind of what your goals are in line? Like, you were watch practice film today, we're not playing or anything, and you're grinding on it. Like, how are you staying grounded to keep your kind of your eye on the prize?
That's something I really sometimes struggle with, and I dwell on too many things that are out of my control, and it's something that I really, really work on. And I do have a amazing support staff, and that gives me confidence to know that I am good enough to be out there. That's the first thing, and my teammates do that as well. But for me individually, it's not letting I call him like the little person in my head, the little guy, not letting him take over thoughts like in big games like BYU, where I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to stop these girls? But instead being like, I can stop these girls and just knowing that to trust my abilities and not stress over things that are out of my control and like get too worked up about things. I just go out there and I just try to play my best and be there for my teammates, which helps me stay grounded.
Just being at somewhere like Texas with, like you said, has all the resources in the world, and there's so much more emphasis on not just the mental side of the game, but mental side as individual players. Has being in the environment you're in kind of afforded you resources and time and support to do that maybe you didn't even know existed,
Hmm.
in your high school and club
Oh,
days?
absolutely, because it's a whole nother level once you get to college. So I have so many resources that I go to every week and sometimes daily to go to like talk, and some are even outside sources that aren't in athletics, but provided to us by athletics. But it gives me a whole new perspective to talk things out with these people, and like I get to tell them what I think. They give me their feedback, which also the new perspective from being in an athletic environment all the time to a neutral environment really, really helps my mental health.
That that's awesome. I know there's just been so much, especially in the soccer community, of focusing on just well-being in general, which is awesome that you guys have so much kind of at your fingertips, and not only just that it's available, but you take advantage of it, which
Mhm.
is probably literally the most important part of
Absolutely.
having of having a resource.
Yeah.
um, I want to backtrack just like a second and talk about kind of your coaching staff and the not just the crazy story, I didn't even know the relation to your
Yeah.
mom and where you are now, but what does that look like as, from a comfort level standpoint, and coming in as a freshman and having the opportunity to play and perform like you did?
Hmm.
How did the coaching staff and just the environment make that, how did that make that work for you?
I think we have an incredible coaching staff. Coach Ange is our head coach, and Coach Ben is our assistant coach. And we had Coach Lee Hughes was our other assistant, but he a week ago left to go be a head coach at Lee University, ironically enough, in Tennessee, and help raise his family. And Lee is probably, I told him this, he's probably the top coach I've ever had in my entire life. And to have him on the staff with Coach Ange and Coach Ben too, who are also incredible, is just like unreal. Because Lee was more of a defensive coach. He like worked with the defenders. So I got to establish a relationship that was really, really deep with him and with his support, him being in my corner a lot of the times as a freshman. Sometimes I put a lot of pressure on myself, but like having him there, he was another person that helped me grounded, along with Coach Ange, because we get to be so comfortable with each other because of her and my mom's relationship, which I am super grateful for. So now I just want to even go deeper with Ange than like the relationship I have with her, and go like deeper and be able to be a team leader for her as we go on, especially with the new coach coming in soon.
Yeah. You know, how has it been? Is your mom still in North Carolina, or is she at like is she excited to come watch? And how what was that dynamic like as you guys have kind of blossomed an amazing mother-daughter relationship, and now she gets to see you on the pitch like doing it with a coach that she had, like how's that been for you guys?
Yeah, so my mom, dad, and my sister are all still in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she's still coaching the same high school team. We won the state championship last year, so she's trying to keep that going. But in the fall, there was a point where she came 3 weekends in a row to watch our games, which is kind of absurd, but she loves it so much, and she loves to watch. She tells me also she loves watching me grow as a player, but more as a person too, which is the thing that I think Texas is very good about, is caring about their athletes more as people than players. Um, but my mom and my dad and my sister are always coming to watch. It means the world to me. So, but it's awesome to have them be able to come as much as they do.
What airline are we taking back and forth here that we're just every weekend?
They're taking American, and it's a direct flight because I don't have a car here, so I don't get to go home that much. But when I do, it's a direct flight right into Charlotte. Works out perfect, and same for them coming here.
That's awesome. Just to have them as much as possible, I'm
Mhm.
sure is a cool feeling. I'm sure they'll be excited just moving forward for next season. So much success just in the Big 12 and moving past into the big tournament. But what do you guys got your sights set on for next year? Where's Texas soccer going to be? What are you guys going to do?
Well, I'd speak for us all when our biggest goal is to always win a national championship, but it's also now an SEC title. And that's going to be it's really big to our teammates if we can come in and dominate like we did in the Big 12 and win an SEC title, which I have full belief that we can with the amount of players and talent we have coming back and coming in, and our coaches and everything we have. I mean, we can absolutely do it. So those are probably our two, like we're working hard in spring right now for these goals, for these far in future goals.
Yeah, well, you guys we're not far off this last season, so I'm sure even just beating BYU at the time of being number one, like you guys have to ride on a all time high of like we can play and beat anybody. So
That gave us the biggest hope. I mean, we playing Florida State was quite an experience. I mean, those girls are unbelievable, and they went up to win the whole thing, which makes me feel a little better. But um, knowing that we had Texas hasn't made it to the Sweet 16 in a while, so if we got there just now, and with everybody we have coming back and the talent we have coming in, we're very confident if we keep the work up. Though we emphasize that a lot.
so I'll be pulling for you now. You got a newfound Texas women's soccer fan, so I'm going to be I'll get my horns up and we'll check out some games. You kind of mentioned, hey, I'm loving what I'm doing. I'm working hard. I'd love to continue my playing after Texas. Is there anything that you, as like a more on the fan or admiration side, watch more than something else? Like, do you watch NWSL? Are you a WSL? What a what gets you going to soccer wise?
I love watching women's college soccer, and I know that I play in it, but it's something that I have always enjoyed watching over. Like I do watch NWSL, but not as much as I do women's college soccer. Like if I'm bored, I'm gonna put on a game, but I study it. It's something I like. I think I like it so much. It's because I can study it and apply it to my game because it's where my feet are right now that I'm in college. And so I think I'm always just really trying to learn through what I watch. But on the men's side, I like to watch Premier League. I don't have a team. All my teammates have teams, but I just like to watch. Um, and I do like when the World Cup happens and the Olympics, that's something I'm very invested in. But I'd put above all women's college soccer. Like I know girls on teams, I know them by their first and last names, and I talk to my teammates about them. They're like, "Who the heck?" I'm like, "Oh, never mind." It's just
I forgot. You don't even know what you're watching. Was that something you did before being a college athlete? Like you've always just watched college soccer?
I've always just had a love for watching it. And sometimes it works. I mean, a lot of times it works to my advantage. Sometimes it like when I watch too much film on other teams, that's like when I start my uncontrollables. I can't control them. I shouldn't worry about them. But I like to scout. I like to improve my own game. I like to take things I see other girls do, like MJ. I would take a lot from what she was doing and I'd apply it to my game. So I think it's something I've always looked at as a way for me to improve. And I also just love the way we play women's college soccer.
Do you think that accelerated kind of like your learning curve as a freshman defender and you're like, I've seen this. Like I know where I'm supposed to be just mentally wise, the amount of soccer and games that you've consumed, does that play a role in your success?
I think it definitely helped. Like going into it, I'm like, okay, this is a whole nother level. But I never fully understood that level until I actually played. And then I was like, whoa, this is times 100 than what I thought, even though I knew what it was going to be. But I definitely think it gave me an idea of like going in on like how to just, it's just grit, straight grit.
Yeah. Would that be like your number one advice? Like if Carly had to talk to freshman high school Carly from
Mm.
now, heading towards sophomore, soccer Carly in college, what would that advice look like?
Wow, that's a very packed one. That's when I probably first started being so real about it. But I probably would tell myself to just there's no limit and you don't have a ceiling yet and to keep working every day. And I've had to make so many sacrifices my friends haven't had to make, but that they're very worth it in the end. And they got me to a wonderful place.
Yeah. Well, as any high performing athlete or doing anything with passion, you definitely have to lose out on a few things, but I'd say that some of the things you've experienced, probably some of the friends and things that you missed out on, over any high school years have probably, hopefully, internally made up for them for you.
I lost you there, but did you say I don't have as many opportunities? What did you say?
I
Sorry.
was just saying, yeah, no, I was saying that, you know, hopefully looking back and things that you may have missed out on, you probably have friends from high school that maybe even they wish they stuck around longer or didn't limit themselves and kept pushing forward just because of a lot of the things you've experienced now and success that you've already had and still a super young career.
I think that I had a wonderful high school experience. I got to go to the staples like prom, homecomings, that stuff. But it's the extra trainings. Like I don't get to hang out with people as much, less school activities, which it never bothered me, which is that's when I knew it's something that like this is what I want to do in the long run. And it's someone like my sister, another my best friend on earth. Um is not as soccer is my life as me. She's brilliant. She's going to UNC Chapel Hill uh, next year, this coming up fall. But even having someone like that so close to me, seeing the differences in our lives, that's when it is really when I realize like this is something that means the world to me. So I will do whatever it takes to get there.
That's awesome. Just internalizing and understanding the sacrifice, but I guess it doesn't really feel like sacrifice if
Hmm.
you're doing what you want to do. Like you're winning. You're not sacrificing anything.
As long as the love, when the love was there, it never felt like I was missing anything. Because I also found love in my teammates and my coaches, not just what I was doing individually.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna watch you this season. We can't wait. I hope for a lot of clean sheets for Texas, and we'll be watching the back line. Um, but you're in the study hall right now. Keep keep studying, keep doing all that. You seem like a very good head on your shoulders, very
Thank,
very bright. Keep watching the film, but don't watch too much ESPNU or
thank you.
whatever. um, just thanks again. We appreciate your time, and we'll be watching.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.